Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Explorer II. This is the first generation 42mm watch, reference 216570, as it was launched in 2011 and ultimately built through 2021 when it was superseded by the subsequent models. This 216570, 42 millimeters in diameter in oyster steel, which is a high nickel 904L alloy, highly resistant to corrosion. You don't have to rinse it after exposure to sea salt, which is its principal advantage over 316 steel. The watch, 42 in diameter, is 12.5 millimeters thick. And from lug tip to lug tip, we just count the case itself, it's 50.2 millimeters. If we add the end links, the bracelet, it's 53.5 with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll pop the clasp open. I'm going to take my glove off real quick so you can see my wrist. It's a little bit hard to do the wrist shot with the glove on. Now you can see that the watch is large. It fits my wrist, but I think that if your wrist is any smaller than mine, you want to get an older Explorer II 42, or you want to look at a generally smaller Rolex sports watch. That said, if you do want a watch to fit under a cuff, this will do it. It's fairly thin, and because of the cupped case back, it sits even lower on the wrist than its measured thickness. And you can see it does wear fine on my wrist. It's okay, there's no problem here. I'm just saying if your wrist is smaller than 16 centimeters, you want to look at other Rolex case size options. All right. Let's take a look at the details. We've got a oyster bracelet with a conforming end link to mate it cleanly to the case. Now on this model we have satin on the top of all of these links, so there's no polish down the center. The outer faces, however, are polished. You can see here we have removable links fixed by screws, and that on both sides of the clasp. We have full size, and then we have easy link. 5 millimeters in, 5 millimeters out. It's a snap-shut system, so you don't need tools to adjust it. Then you can see inside the clasp, we have a spring bar in 3 different anchoring positions, so you can use your strap tool or your spring bar tool to change the anchoring of the bracelet inside the clasp. Here we have a double locking system. You can see that there's this spring-loaded lift lock mechanism. This actually has to be lifted to disengage. And then we've got a beak and a hook system. These two things interlink, and then the clamshell shuts on top of that. So it's actually got 2 different locks. You can see internally a combination of media blast and satin finish. Now this watch, as you see it, was originally retailed in 2014. The watch has sharp, sort of sheer case bands, satin finished lug tops, and then a crown, which is a twin lock and a screw down. The case back, you can see it right there. All this 100 meters water resistant, twin lock and steel. You got that little slash. That's how you know it's a steel twin lock. We have a bezel that draws on the watch's 1970s origins, where we have this radial lapping machine style brushed grain, and then the edge of it has a little polished lip. The watch features a dial that is white, not silver white, white, chalk white, Cliffs of Dover, with black contrast. You can see we also have a few well-chosen orange accents that are a tribute to the heritage of the Explorer II. Now the watch has quite a bit of lumen, you'll notice, on all 4 hands. So let's take a look at the lume shot. No shortage of that. And it is Rolex Chromolite Blue Lume, their own proprietary lume. Dual-time watch, originally intended for cave explorers. Remember, when it came out in 1971, the Explorer II was a watch with 2 hour hands coupled together. So the 24-hour hand was basically an AM/PM indicator for the primary. Now, since the 5-digit references of the 1980s, we've had the ability to set these time zones independently. So you can see how I can set the hour hand independently, even drive the date forward or backwards, depending on which way I'm traveling across the international date line. That hour hand represents the place where I am, my local hour. Pull the crown out all the way. Now we activate hacking, stop seconds, and I can move all the hands. You can see the 24-hour hand, which makes 1 rotation of the dial per day. Now I can set this. So what you want to do is you want to set that, set your minute, go back to the intermediate position, set your local hour, and screw the crown back down. Inside, we have Rolex caliber 3187. It's a unique movement, only ever used in this model, based on the 3185 and 3186. It has a bigger date disc, for example, but it's a little bit modified for use in the Explorer II, taking into account the size of the case. Bidirectional automatic winding with a rotor on a jeweled staff, 4 Hz beat rate, 31 joules, 48-hour power reserve, stop seconds, 12 and 24-hour independent time zones, full balance bridge with a free-sprung balance for shock resistance, features a Breguet overcoil hairspring for isochronous operation or concentric breathing, as it's sometimes described, in any position, and that hairspring is a blue oxidized niobium zirconium anti-magnetic alloy Rolex calls Parachrome Bleu. Also worth mentioning, the movement would have been certified as a COSC Swiss chronometer, tested in 5 positions for 2 weeks, and then set into the case. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex, certified pre-owned, Oyster Perpetual Explorer II.